Wow, such muscles! Oh, I think I am in love with this handsome guy. I was staring at Stan and falling in love with him more and more with every minute. Do you think I'm airy? No, everything is even much worse. My name is Hillary, and this is my story about how I met a guy for the first time in my life. Yes, you heard it right. Recently, I have seen a guy for the first time. And by the way, I am already 16 years old. It all started in my early childhood when my mother and I were left alone because our father had abandoned us. However, his leaving was not the worst experience for our family. For many years, I had been bedridden. When I was born, the doctors said that my bones were so fragile that every step would be extremely difficult for me and that any injury could be fatal. But the doctors assured my mother that due to new medicine and therapy, I could still be cured, but this would take many years. So I would lie in bed for most of the time and would not go anywhere. And since we were living in a small town and didn't have much money, there was neither TV nor internet at home. All my entertainment included a few books and communication with my mom and girlfriends. The girls would tell me a lot of interesting things about life, which I thought I could never have. They talked about schools, teachers, and boys. The boys interested me most of all. All the boys are so nasty. Yes, you are so lucky, Hillary, that you don't have to communicate with them. My girlfriends would start talking about their ex-boyfriends, about how disgustingly they had treated them and what the girls had to endure. These stories impressed and frightened me so much that at times I did not want to communicate with the opposite gender at all. But that would pass quickly. This was what my boring life was like. Until the age of 16, I had been living in isolation and knew little about the outside world. And even when my bones got significantly stronger and I was able to walk normally, Mom was still afraid to let me out of the house, so she continued to keep me locked up. And then one day she came to me with good news. We're moving to the city and being transferred at my work. Wow, great! I was hoping that my life in the city would change dramatically, and I was not wrong. I really wanted to go to school in order to meet new friends and finally start communicating with boys. Oh, what if they are not that nasty? There must be some really good guys. However, my mother quickly brought me back down to earth. Dear, you have poor health. I don't think you should go to school yet. But I want to. You are going to study at home. It will be better this way. Moreover, your knowledge level doesn't match your age. Everyone will be laughing at you. Do you really want that? And it was true. I did not even think that I was much less intelligent than my peers. Well, no big deal. This could be easily fixed. My teacher, Mrs. Britt, came to me every day. We were studying for long hours. I really enjoyed studying and learning something new. However, I still felt a lack of communication with my peers. Mom started earning more in her new job, and we were able to afford our first mobile phones and the internet. That was how I could keep in touch with my friends who remained in my old town. But it was all wrong. I really wanted to go out somewhere, to meet peers, to find myself a boyfriend. And one day, my wish came true. Mrs. Britt called me one day and said that she had broken her leg. Therefore, for a long time, she would not be able to come to teach me. But you can come to me in order to not get behind. I would be happy to. I just need to talk to my mother. I had to persuade my mother for a long time to let me go, as she was afraid that something might happen to me. For example, some serious injury, which, in her opinion, would definitely lead to death. It's all nonsense. I can't stay locked up at home for all my life. Why not? Of course you can. Mom, enough. That's too much already. For the first time, I had really yelled at her. We had begun arguing for a long time. But in the end, my mom gave up and let me go to Mrs. Britt's classes every day. And who could have thought that it would turn my life around, as it so happened that I fell in love with Mrs. Britt's son, Stan. At first, we would just exchange glances, then started talking a little, and then we added each other as friends on social networks and began chatting night after night. Stan was not only handsome, but he was also an incredibly interesting guy. He knew so much, and compared to him, I felt so narrow-minded. After all, I was just studying the 4th grade program with his mother. But Stan didn't mind this, as after all, he knew very well about my illness. Oh, how exciting it was to chat with a guy. Every time Stan wrote to me, I had goosebumps running all over my body and my heart began to beat faster. That's how much I liked him. I did not hide my relationship from my mother and told her everything, but her reaction just killed me. What? You should think about studying, not about boys." She was outraged. "One doesn't exclude the other." "It does exclude. Moreover, boys are just trouble. Think about your father. He left us." "You were just unlucky. Stan is not like that. He's good." Yes, of course. They are all like that at first." "Hillary, I'm against it. Moreover, this is not love. You have just never seen a boy. That's why you were so impressed." Mom even took my phone away so that I could not keep in touch with Stan. Good thing that I didn't have time to tell her that he was Mrs. Britt's son. Therefore, we could see each other during my classes and then go for a walk. I told him that my mom was against our relationship and explained that it was all because of my father. Stan said he would not turn his back on me in any case and gave me his old phone so that we could keep on chatting. However, nothing good came of it because one day I accidentally left my phone on the table. During the cleaning, my mother found it, read our messages, and understood everything. Oh, how furious she was. She forbade me to go to Mrs. Britt and declined her services, finding another teacher. I was very hurt and offended. She took away my communication with the boy I liked so much. She wanted me to always sit at home and to not mix with any guys at all just because of her bad experience. I decided not to give up and run away from home at nights down a drain pipe in order to spend time with Stan. He used to wait for me behind the trees, and we could walk all night. But one day, we were caught by the police. They brought me home and handed me over to my mother with the words, "You should keep an eye on your daughter. Isn't she too young to go out at night?" "Did she walk alone?" My mother was shocked by my behavior. "No, with a guy, but he is also a minor. For the first time, you will get off with a warning, but if we catch her one more time, we will be forced to take action." How scared I was then to be left alone with my mother. I saw that she was furious and did not know how hard I would be punished for that. Mom yelled at me, and the next day the bars had already been installed on my windows. It was like I was locked up in a jail from where it was impossible to escape. Mom was constantly checking on me, didn't give me my phone. So at home I was just dying of boredom. I didn't even have anyone to talk to, as I was not eager to communicate with my mother, and there were no other people in my prison cell. I felt so lonely that I was crying all the time. I missed Stan so much. A couple of times I could see him coming to my windows, but unfortunately there was no way he could help me to escape. Stupid bars and stupid principles of my mom. It was all driving me nuts. Then I decided to take extreme measures. I swung my arm and slammed my palm hard on the table. The pain shot through my entire body and I almost fainted. Even though my bones had become significantly stronger, they were still fragile. It seemed to have broken my wrist. Mom came running to my screams. She turned pale and started fussing. "Oh my God, we are going to the hospital right now!" And while Mom was getting ready, apparently on adrenaline, I grabbed her phone and texted Stan that I would be in the hospital. Maybe this was how we could see each other. I knew this was no ordinary fracture, and I would have to spend some time in the hospital. And this was exactly what happened. The doctor put me in for examination and treatment. And that evening, Stan came to me and brought flowers and fruits. "How did you manage to do this?" he asked, looking at me with pity. "It's all for us," I replied. "I tried very hard to hit harder." "So you have broken your wrist on purpose?" "Yes, just because I wanted to see you." Tears welled up in Stan's eyes. At first, he scolded me for being so irresponsible about my health. And then he hugged me and said that he would visit me every day. And he kept his word. Stan came to visit me every evening. He was even studying with me, and everything was fine. Until one day my mother caught him in my room. "Get out of here!" she cried out. "He will stay!" I shouted back. Mom didn't beat around the bush any longer. She grabbed Stan's arm, led him out of the room, and slammed the door right in front of his face. I started crying from helplessness and anger. "You will not prevent us from seeing each other!" Mom didn't say anything. She was furious. We sat in death-like silence for several minutes. It would have been better if she had not come. She just ruined everything. Before leaving, my mother said that very soon I would understand that this was not love. I didn't think anything of her words until I got home. Mom hosted a dinner to celebrate my return from the hospital, and she invited her friend with her son Peter. When we were all sitting at the table, Peter kept trying to start a conversation with me. He was completely uninteresting to me. I could admit that he was a handsome guy, but at the same time, so boring. I hardly listened to him because I was thinking about Stan all the time. So that's how our dinner went. When the guests left, my mother asked me how I felt about talking with Peter. I replied that he was boring and annoying. Apparently, my answer surprised my mother. Well, of course, she didn't believe in my feelings, thinking they were not real, and that it was just an excitement from meeting a guy. Mom was confused and said that she had a lot to think about. And after a few days, she made me very happy by offering to invite Stan to visit us. I want to get to know this guy better. Luckily, despite my mom's antics at the hospital, Stan agreed. However, at the table, she blurted out that before Stan, I had not seen any guys and did not communicate with them in any way. It surprised him a lot, and I was burning with shame because I really didn't want Stan to know about it. I understand what you're getting at, he said and smiled. But I can give you my word that I will never offend Hillary and never leave her. He took my hand. Mom, after hearing this, thought about something for a minute and then replied that she would still be on the alert. She gave her consent to our relationship, and now we are very happy together. I am thinking all the time about how great it is that I have not listened to my friends and instead believed that Stan is not like all the other guys. And at what age did you start communicating with guys? Post your replies in the comment section. Click like and share this video with your friends.